The one thing that the Islamic Republic of Iran wants more than anything is for you to be silent. They don't want you to talk about what's happening in Iran. So why you should care about the situation in Iran? You know, I honestly feel sad to say that sentence because I think that every human being that lives in a democratic country should stand up for the Iranian people for the sake of his own freedom and his own democracy and security. Right now, as we are speaking, Iranian people are protesting against the Iranian regime that is oppressing them. It's an evil, radical Islamist regime that is simply built to preserve its power at the cost of anyone that stands to it. Iranian people, countries, the Iranian regime is sowing fear and terrorizing the entire Middle East with its one purpose, to expand its empire and to dominate more and more areas. That's why they created Israel as their enemy, because they're trying to divert the eyes of the Iranian people from their problems and to think about Israel, to think that Israel, this small country that is way smaller than Iran, is the biggest threat to Iran. They are lying to the Iranian people. But that's not just the case. It's not just about basic human rights. Iranian people have no water. Many Iranians have no access to water, to clean water, to food. That's what they're protesting about. And the Islamic regime is trying to shut them up. They're shutting their internet because they don't want you and the West to see what's going on in Iran. They don't want anyone to hear what's going on inside of Iran. And we don't want history to repeat itself. Throughout history, Stalin starved millions of people to death just to preserve his communist rule. The Kim family in North Korea have starved approximately 300,000 people to death just to preserve their power. So I have this question to everyone that has a cell phone, freedom, and enjoys democracy. Do you want your silence to support the starvation of the Iranian people? Do you know why the Iranian regime is shutting down their internet? It's because they don't want the world to see the videos that the Iranian people are filming. Iranians are filming videos, taking pictures, risking their lives, by the way, by doing that, because they are counting on us to share this. They want us to see what's happening. They want us to put pressure on the international community to act against this evil regime. There's nothing that Iranian people want more than to topple this evil regime. You know, it's quite amazing that I was getting a lot of messages from Iranian people that tell me that they wish for the US to impose more sanctions on the Islamic regime. They wish for Israel or the US to topple this evil regime because they are suffering. Iranian people want you to see what's happening in Iran. They want you to help them. They want us to stand with them. I will not be silent, and I call you to do the same. Countless of Iranian people are being held in prisons as political prisoners for simply opposing this cruel regime. In 2020, at least 267 innocent people were executed. What if I told you that you can prevent the next victim? What if you could prevent the next execution? Well, you can do that by simply standing with the Iranian people, by not being silent. Because, you know, today it may be the Iranians that are suffering, but tomorrow it could be you. And you would want the Iranian people to stand up for you if you were in their situation. You would want them to call others to speak for you. This is how bad the situation is in Iran. Millions of Iranians, and I'm not exaggerating, millions, want this regime to be toppled. This evil regime is on the verge of collapse. That's why they are acting like they are so strong. They attempt to sow more fear, more terror, to sponsor more terrorism against the West, against Israel, against the United States, because they want to be seen as stronger, more powerful. But the truth is that they are the weakest they have ever been during the last 4 decades. They are on the verge of collapse. And Iranians know it. This is why Iranians risk their lives to protest, to call this regime to be toppled. On Friday, Iran launched a drone attack on an oil tanker that has ties to an Israeli near Oman. 2 crew members were killed in the attack on the Mercer Street, that oil tanker, killing one Romanian captain and one British security officer. Iran is sowing fear and terror in the Gulf of Oman. And it's not the first ship that they ever attacked. Just this week, Iranian-backed forces took control over a tanker literally off the shores of the UAE, and they tried to hijack it and force the tanker to head towards Iran. Thankfully, this plot was stopped. This is today's Wild West. Iran is doing whatever they want because they know that nothing will happen to them, because many world leaders are being too politically correct, and I'll expand on that in just a minute, and they are afraid of the Iranian regime. They don't want to mess with them. But not only that, Iran is being aggressive purposely because they are trying to portray this as victory over the West. They are trying to show their people that they are strong, especially because they are not. They are weak. There is a new president in Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, new elected president. And to our big surprise, what a shock. Well, unfortunately, it's not a shock. The European Union is sending a representative to his inauguration ceremony, and other international officials are coming. Iran literally killed just 2 innocent civilians by attacking an oil tanker. And they're sending a representative to celebrate this mass murderer? Did you know this? Ibrahim Raisi, this president, his nickname in Iran is the hanging judge. He is responsible for executing around 4,000 political prisoners. And the EU is sending a representative to celebrate his inauguration, to celebrate his election. If you are in Europe, do you support your tax money sponsoring this trip to celebrate a mass murderer, a killer? This is insane. This world is being led by political correctness and not by boldness. We need more bold leaders that don't care about criticism, but care about their people, but care about doing the right thing. This is insane. The Iranian regime will not survive the next 10 years. And it's pretty clear why. Iranians hate this regime. Even those that supported this regime in 1979 regret every second that they did. They want to be free. They want to make Persia great again. And we have to support them. Because if we will not support them, and when they will be free, and when they will make Persia great again, we will regret standing on the wrong side of history. So if you are watching this, encourage your leaders to stand up, to do the right thing, to not care about criticism, but to care about doing the right thing. And doing the right thing is supporting the Iranian people, because they are smart, intelligent, they are some of the most hardworking people, and they, once free, will be a huge blessing to this world.